Alrighty, so what's up, everybody? I make videos covering various topics that are all some type of way centered around masculinity. So in today's episode, I'll be discussing how men are discouraged from communicating clearly. Alright, before I get into it, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Let's get straight into it. So what do I mean by that? So oftentimes when you go to work or just when you're out and about somewhere, what you'll notice is, especially when you're small talking with people, somebody may ask you like, oh man, how's it going? And you'll say, oh, I can't complain. And then especially another guy, they'll say this. They'll say, yeah, well, nobody will listen to that complaint anyway. Nobody gonna listen to you complain anyway. Nobody want to hear that, And sometimes I say that too. I just get so used to saying it. But I came to this realization, I want to say like 7 to 8 years ago. I was at work one day and I saw one of my coworkers come in, right? And this was a really hot day during the summer. I'm talking about super hot outside. So he came in and he was complaining. He was like, oh man, it's so hot out there, man. I'm getting so tired of this, so on and so forth. And he was talking to one of my other coworkers, but I overheard this conversation, right? And so my other coworker, he basically just told him that. He was like, yeah, you're doing a lot of complaining, man. You're doing a lot of complaining. The typical, what a lot of dudes will do, So anyway, my coworker, he left the locker room, and the coworker that he was talking to, he started talking to me because I was standing next to him. He's like, man, that dude always complaining, man. Like, you got to say something about the weather. We all know it's hot outside. We all know it's hot. You ain't got to keep on saying it. And I kid you not, at that moment, it kind of hit me. I'm like, yo, he got a point though. It's hot as a mug outside, yo. It's like 100-something degrees outside. We work outside. We do blue collar work. I get what he mean, but you see a lot of us guys, and I'm not saying that it's intentional or it's vicious or mean or like intentionally mean or something like that or inconsiderate. But a lot of us guys, we say stuff like that, and it didn't hit me until that point where I'm like, yo, like, why do we do this? Like, I don't understand this. Some of us we go around with like this macho persona sometimes. Like nothing bothers us, nothing gets to us. We just took it all under the rug. Like, okay, well, whatever. I ain't gonna complain. Nobody gonna listen no way. Like, nah, like that's not cool, And again, sometimes I can do that too. And I'm not saying that people are guilty if they do it, but I'm just saying that this is something that I realized some years ago, and it's definitely something that I try to stop doing. Now it doesn't mean that I'm just gonna complain every day, all day type thing, but it's like. My thing is, especially as a man, we know what we go through as men. You know what I'm saying? I'm a married man. I'm a father, and all those good things. I got a blue collar job. I work, pay bills, just like a lot of other men do as well. And naturally, that comes with complaints. Naturally, that comes with certain communications that are not always that pleasant. But in society nowadays, and this has been going on for years, especially amongst men, you start saying stuff and a lot of men take it as a joke. Oh man, you tripping, man, whatever, man, it's gonna be all right. All these like dismissive statements, and it's like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. As a man, I get it. You don't want to over complain. You don't want to be a crybaby, stuff like that. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, it's like, yo, like, I don't know, man. I think a lot of times we take this stuff way too far, yo. I think that we should be a lot more open, especially as men, to be expressive, to be emotional. And even me saying that, in the back of your mind, you might be like, wait, hold on, what you mean emotional, expressive? It may sound feminine, or it may sound weird or whatever, and really it's not. It's like you a human, like just like the example I gave with my coworker when he did I mention that on here already? But like the example I made with my coworker when he came in complaining about how hot it was outside to my coworker. And then my coworker was basically dismissive of him, like, man, you're always complaining, man. Everybody know it's hot outside. Then when it's cold outside, you're gonna be saying it's too cold outside. And I'm pretty sure you guys have heard that probably a million times. And when my coworker left the locker room and my other coworker was talking to me, because I was right there, I heard their whole conversation. He was like, yeah, buddy, always complaining, man, about weather. He always got something to complain about. I'm like, dude, it is hot as a mug outside, man. It's hot. We work blue collar jobs. We working outside. It is hot. I feel what he's saying, and he's just expressing that it's hot outside. Just like when it's cold outside, it's gonna be freezing cold, But us as guys, you come in and you might say, man, it's freezing out there, man. It's super cold. Oh man, my hands frozen, my toes frozen, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You just expressing how you feel, because obviously this is some pretty severe, extreme conditions that you're working in. You know what I'm saying? Especially in Chicago. You know, Chicago is super hot in the summertime. It's extremely freezing in the wintertime. You know, and a lot of us men, we just act like stuff like that ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, that's definitely something. You know, I don't know where we got that from. I have no idea, but it just hit me one day. Again, this was like 7-8 years ago. That thought just hit my mind. Like, why do we do each other like that? Why do we do ourselves like that as men? You know, we just feel like we can't be expressive. We can't communicate certain things. Can't express emotions or how we feel or what we're experiencing. We just keep tucking it under the rug. Like, oh, sorry, I'm all good, whatever. It just come with the territory. Like, yeah, it come with the territory, but it's like that doesn't keep you from talking about certain things that bother you, certain things that get on your nerves and things like that. Now, I do get, I'm not saying that I advocate for over complaining, you know, just always nagging and all those things. I'm not saying that I advocate for that, because I don't. That would get on a lot of people's nerves. But just in a general sense, a very general, basic sense. Like, if it's freezing cold outside, I expect for a lot of people to be saying, hey, it's freezing cold outside, whether you're a man or a woman. If it's burning hot outside, I expect the same thing. But, you know, one thing that I peeped is that a lot of us men, we just don't be moving like that. You know, and especially in today's society, when so many people, they talk about mental health, you know, stress, depression, and stuff like that. I think that is very critical, you know, to, you don't have to know somebody's whole life story and all of that, but just in a very general, basic way, you know, when you are talking with people, talking with coworkers or family members and things like that, you don't want to come off in a dismissive way, you know. So if you're asking somebody like, man, okay, how's it going? And then they decide to open up to you about their job or about their marriage or something personal, you don't want to be dismissive, because first and foremost, there's a very intentional reason why they're choosing to share with you how they feel. So I think that the mature thing to do, especially as a man, is to be like, okay, if like, say for instance, you ask them, oh man, you know, how's it going? And they're like, man, I'm all right, man, you know, my job kind of tripping. You know, they're not paying us much. They threatening to lay a lot of people off. And again, I know that a lot of people will say this statement that I'm about to say, like, oh man, you know, okay, it'll be all good. You know, you'll be straight. I get it. You know, it's a thing to say. But as men, it's good to expound on things. You know, if somebody is telling you something like that, it's good to, hey man, let's crack that question open and see. And I mean, that statement that you just gave, let's just see what you're talking about with that. You know, why do you feel like that? What's going on? You know, everything straight with you? Are you concerned about, you know, about losing your job or losing money or not being able to pay bills and things like that? And see, a lot of men will keep things like that away from each other. You know, we'll just bottle it all up, hold it all in, and now before you know it, now you somewhere, what they call it, crashing out somewhere, going crazy or going off or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And in my personal opinion, I believe that's why a lot of that stuff be happening. You know, a lot of men, and I'm not saying all men, but a lot of men, you know, we just bottle stuff in. We just keep on holding it. We just keep on saying, oh, I'm straight. I'm good. I'm gonna be cool. It'll pass by, whatever. Like, nah. I don't know where we got that from, yo. I don't know where that came from. But that is not, nah. I try not to move like that no more. Even with my wife, you know, I try to, I mean, of course, again, I want to give this disclaimer. You don't want to overdo it, be on some nagging, always complaining type stuff. But like, even with my wife, like, if it's certain things that I experience at work, I mean, I'm not going to always give her like the full spiel every single day and stuff like that. But hey, I just let her know, you know, I try to communicate as clearly as I can. You know, and it's good to get those things off of your mind, especially if it's things that are frustrating you or are stressful or concerning you and things like that. And she takes it very well. You know, she's never not once told me or made her look at me like, oh, what is he talking about now? Oh man, you know, he's less of a man. You know, he's effeminate now. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's never looked at me like that or told me that in response to me bringing her something that happened at work or something that I was feeling or something that I was experiencing, that was bothering me. You know what I'm saying? We've always had a back and forth dialogue, a back and forth conversation about things. And I believe that that's how things should be, even man to man. I mean, a lot of times we can be prideful and things like that. And again, maybe I used to be that way. I never seen myself as that way, but maybe I was. I don't know. But I try my best nowadays, just to be expressive, to be emotional, And again, I know saying it sounds weird, right? As a man, but it's like, hey, we're given emotions, by God. We're given thoughts and feelings and things like that. And I don't think that it's healthy, especially as men, to just be holding it in. You know what I'm saying? To just be bottling all that stuff up and just keeping it to ourselves. It's good to, if something is bothering you or something is on your mind, it's good, hit up one of your homies, hit up your wife. I'm married. I got close friends and stuff like that. I've got family I can talk to, so that's one of many things that marriage has taught me. I'm gonna talk about that in another video in the future, things that marriage has taught me, just it ain't good to just be holding stuff in, so that's why when I'm out and about nowadays, when somebody wants to, somebody is being expressive, especially like, another man, I may see somebody working at a restaurant, or like I'm up here at the gym right now. I might see somebody up here at the gym. They might ask me a certain question, or they might make just a random statement about something. It's like, okay, I want to see, what's going on. Okay, what's up? You know what I'm saying? You just never know. You just never know with people, and it's not that I'm just going to let somebody just spill a whole life story out on me or something like that. Like, goodness, that's a lot to take in. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm just saying, like, in the midst of conversations, in the midst of, talking to coworkers, neighbors, friends, people at church, things like that, I try not to be dismissive. I try not to make certain statements like, oh, man, you'll be straight. You'll be all good. You know what I'm saying? I try to ask questions and see why this person is saying what they're saying, because people just don't say things just for no reason, especially men. A lot of us men are sensitive about how much money that we make, our jobs. Can we provide for our family? Can we provide for our wife and kids and things like that? Can we make enough money for them? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. We want to support our family. We want our family to be pleased with us and all of those good things. We want to be seen as the leaders. And if we're not able to do that, we got fired, laid off, or struggling to find a job, struggling to get promoted or whatever, it can come with a lot of stresses, as well as other things throughout life. Maybe it's not that certain thing that bothers you. Maybe it's some other things. But yeah, I just say that to say, man, just be mindful of who you come across out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, be open to a conversation and try not to be dismissive, because sometimes people are coming to you for a reason. Sometimes people want to talk, and a lot of us guys, I think we need to do that more. A couple of my homies, we'll have personal conversations, and I really appreciate the conversations that we have. We get off the phone like, hey, man, thanks for chopping it up with me. Thanks for talking to me about this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? So I would encourage other men to do it as well. I'm trying to get better at it myself, as a husband. This is a man in general, and all those good things. But I would encourage other men, to just be clear communicators. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to express how you feel, what you think about certain things and all of that. Because society is, in my opinion, society doesn't really do a good job with that. They talk about it. They talk about mental health and all those types of things. But I'm not saying it's everybody, but I don't really see that modeled a lot. I don't really see examples of that in real life. You might see people talking about it on social media, or celebrities or whatever. I don't see that a lot in real life, though, especially amongst men. It's just really dismissive. Like, oh man, you'll be all right. You'll be straight. Like I give you another example real quick. I don't want to make this video too long, but I remember I was at the gym, right, and I was talking to a personal trainer. And I'm asking them questions because I was concerned. I'm like, okay, let me make sure I'm doing this right. And again, this goes back to not being in your own mind, just being isolated into yourself. So I'm like, all right, I'm at the gym. It's trainers here. I can go ask them a question, right? You know what I'm saying? So I go ask the guy a question. Nice dude, great guy. So I ask him, and I say, hey, I just want to make sure I'm doing these pull-ups right. Cool guy, very professional. And one of the things that he told me, he was like, he's like, oh man, you pretty fit already, man. You good, man. What you need this for, basically? And I'm not quoting him verbatim. I'm just paraphrasing what he said. But that's just an example, though, of how a lot of men communicate. Because it's like, okay, now I'm asking you this. I'm asking you for a reason. Now, to you looking at it like, oh, I'm straight. I got a little bit of muscle on me already. You know, I should be straight. You know, I'm good. But it's like, nah, like, that's why I'm asking you, like, hey, check out how I'm doing this pull up. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. I don't want to pull no muscles and stuff like that. So I kind of rebranded the question to him. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us men, we do that to each other. And again, like I said earlier in the video, it's not that it's malicious or intentionally bad or something like that. I just think that we've been over the course of time, we've just kind of been conditioned to be like that. And I think sometimes it can come off as natural, but really it's like, I don't know. I just don't know where that comes from, you know, with us men, you know. So that's my take on that. Feel free to chime in. Let me know what you guys think about that. Feel free to subscribe as well. Peace out. Have a good one.